Hi everyone, another day has gone by and the temperatures have dropped, that's for sure. If you've stepped outside, you already realize that we're down in the 30s. And I've been doing the cabin fever forecast because of everything that's going on, but we are still allowed to walk outside and maintain distance, and I recommend it. Although it'll be a little cooler than you're used to tomorrow, temperatures in the 40s most of the day, but a rapid recovery getting us back into the 70s by Monday, and in fact we'll be right around 80, I think, extending this out a little bit more to Tuesday and also to Wednesday. All right, well, this is also the anniversary of a tornado outbreak called the Super Outbreak, or it was called by the late Dr. Fujita the Jumbo Outbreak. This actually influenced my decision to go into weather quite a bit. It was in 1974, and let's see, I would have been 8 and 12 years old, and it really impacted me. Now, back then, we only had 3 news networks, and when these tornadoes broke out, and all those people were killed, it was a pretty big deal. It occupied the entire half hour of the newscast back then. And I just remember being motivated to understand tornadoes more after this outbreak occurred. It has been eclipsed by several other outbreaks in the time that's passed since 1974, but it was a pretty landmark outbreak, and it came in the era of satellite and not quite radar yet. They had weather radar, but it wasn't as advanced as today's. So a lot of lessons learned. Multiple track tornadoes were documented, twin vortices were documented, and so it was a pretty interesting outbreak of tornadoes back in April of 1974. Speaking of tornadoes, we're about on track for tornadoes in terms of frequency this spring. Now, it may seem worse than that just because notoriety has a very heavy weight, meaning that, if we have tornadoes like hit Nashville, for example, and also Jonesboro, Arkansas, makes you think that there is a lot more going on. Those, in fact, were just insidious tornadoes that just happened to hit metropolitan areas. The actual count is remaining about where it is according to the normals we've established. Hopefully it'll go down. I don't see any real indicators we're going to see an increase in tornado frequency. We might see a slight increase in the intensity of some tornadoes, but again, there's a lot of things that have to come together for that to be true. A different type of storm, hurricanes. The Colorado State University forecast for hurricanes, which comes out in April, is out. It comes out around the 1st. And here's a chart that shows what they expect. And it looks like it's going to be an above normal season with 16 named storms as compared to the 30-year running average of about 12. Named storm days, 80 above the almost 60 that is considered normal. 8 hurricanes instead of the 6.4. You can go ahead and read the list there. Everything's above normal. There are 2 reasons for this forecast. Number one, out over the equatorial Pacific waters, it's going to be pretty neutral. No El Nino or La Nina expected. In fact, there's actually a slight trigger for maybe a weak La Nina. What does that mean for the Atlantic? It just means that when there's an El Nino, the wind shear is too great for hurricanes generally to thrive. La Nina is the opposite. It means that the wind shear is actually lower than normal and may encourage hurricane development. The second thing that encourages hurricane development, at least once they get going, is ocean temperatures, and those are above normal too, as you can see here. So that's the reason why come hurricane season, we might see an above average number of storms. There's really no way to know whether those are going to hit the U.S. or not. There isn't really a good metric for that. And they do update this forecast later in the year, so we'll see what happens. Well, today I finished the second part of my wind chime project. Now, making wind chimes is something I've always wanted to do, but the twist on this one is that I have to make it with everything I have in the house. I was going to go to Lowe's and go buy something, for obvious reasons. So it's working out well. So be sure to check out part 2 on my website. And I don't know how many parts there'll be to this. I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 will probably do it. Well, that's it for me on this Friday night. Have a good rest of your evening, and I will talk to you again over the weekend.